Greetings, loves. It is I, Tacticool Girlfriend. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's doing well. Today, I have for you a review of the Ferro Concepts Bison. This is a battle belt that I've been using for the last 6 months. I've got plenty of experience with it. It's not terribly new to the market, but it is new to me. So I do have some thoughts on it that I do want to share with you. So without further ado, let's get into it. But first, a little bit of background. First of all, I have been running a Wilder Tactical battle belt for quite some time. I put out an entire video on that, and I do recommend checking it out. It's actually a really good battle belt. I have nothing but great things to say about it, but I have been testing out the Bison, and that has since replaced it for some good reasons, which I will get into. Now, there have also been some changes in my setup, but generally it's the same as last time for the most part. So if you do want to know about some of the finer details of my first line gear on my belts, that video also will be a really good one for you to check out. Now, that said, I am going to review for you this belt and give you some updates on what has changed on my first line gear. Also, for the sake of transparency, what is my relationship with Ferro Concepts? Well, there is none. I'm sure they don't even know that I exist. I simply bought this belt with my cold, hard-earned cash, and I wanted to run it through its paces and share my thoughts with you. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Alright, so the Bison is a two-piece belt, meaning it's a system that consists of an outer belt on which all of your equipment is mounted onto, and then that mounts by Velcro onto an inner belt. This is routed through the belt loops of your pants. This is 1.5 inches wide. It's simply nylon and Velcro. It's got a very simple rudimentary metal hook here with which you attach to the hook loops. There's 2 of them for small and medium sizes, as well as large and extra large. And the belt is generally just very adjustable. It's not very rigid. As you can see, it's pretty floppy, but it doesn't really need much rigidity. Most of that should come from the outer belt anyway. And now we have the outer belt. But first, I just want to add a little note. I did add a Wilder Tactical belt pad to the interior of this belt. This basically gives me an alternative to the Bison inner belt so that I don't have to use belt loops on pants, because I'm oftentimes wearing jackets and outer layers when I'm shooting, so this is also a really good solution. The Wilder belt pad is very comfortable. It's got neoprene, which allows it to grip onto you very well, even if you're wet. So all in all, it's very comfortable, and in fact, I kind of like wearing this more. It just generally feels more comfortable for me, but it's not nearly as much of a slick mounting option as the normal Ferro internal belts, but hey, you got options, and that's great. So customizable, yes, very modular, very excellent design there. As far as construction of this belt goes, it's a 2-inch wide belt with tubular nylon, and internally we have a thermoplastic frame that you can see here, this gray section. That keeps the entire belt rigid. It allows you to mount a lot of weight to it, and it doesn't sag under that pressure, keeps everything tight against your body, therefore it is more comfortable, and you can wear it for much longer periods of time. Throughout the belt, we have MOLLE sections in which you can mount any MOLLE compatible accessories to, which most things are MOLLE compatible. It's a fairly standard option, and it's very easy to use. And then moving on, we also have a Cobra buckle. These things are bomb-proof, they're very easy to use. I'm a big fan of them. I've loved using these on both of the battle belts that I've had. And beyond that, we also have a D-ring here. The D-ring is normally used to tether to vehicles or use as a harness for rappelling. Ferro specifically says on their website, whatever you do, do not do that. This is not rated for any kind of retention in a vehicle or any sort of harness system. So make sure that you're using a proper harness if that is your jam. This belt is rated to hold up to 3,000 pounds, but that's the belt and not the D-ring, so please do not get those things mixed up. Alright, now that we got the specifics of the belt itself out of the way, let me go over the details of what exactly I have on this belt. The first thing here are my gloves attached to a carabiner. It's nice to have those really readily accessible. It's also nice to be able to quickly take them off and put them somewhere that is also readily accessible, but out of the way. If I'm at the range and I want to eat lunch or whatever, yeah, that's a great way to do it. I think that having your gloves on your first line gear is kind of a no-brainer. Past that, I have an STAC Kiwi angled pistol magazine pouch. These things are incredible. The retention just feels really nice. Drawing from these is a breeze. It's got plenty of retention to it so that they don't fall out, but it is just right where I can just smoothly draw these in a jiffy. Also, at an angle here, that draw is so much more natural. It feels great. It takes up more real estate, but I do think it's worth it. I only carry one pistol magazine on my first line gear anyway, so why not? Moving on, I have yet another STAC Kiwi mag pouch. This is an AR mag pouch, and it is mounted horizontally. Now you might think, why would I ever do that on a side pouch? That's kind of strange, but there's a really good reason for that. I wear a Cry SPC. It uses a structural cummerbund, which doesn't necessarily always sit very skin tight against my body. In that case, when I've been running my G-Code Scorpions, which are vertically oriented, I've had magazines lodge themselves underneath the cummerbund, and then when I have to pull it out, I then have to do a funny little dance to clear it and get it out of the cummerbund, and it's just a whole nightmare. Also, drawing up sometimes just bumps into the cummerbund, even if it's not tucked in there. It just gets in the way, so this is a really easy way to just simply clear all that and not worry about it. Is it ideal? Not necessarily. Does it work for me? Absolutely. Moving on to the very rear of the belt here, I have my high-speed gear reflex IFAK. Now, I go into more detail about this IFAK in my other first line gear video, so I do recommend checking that out if you want to see a little bit more details about that. But basically, this is my IFAK. It's got all my medical gear in it. If you're shooting a gun, you always need to have medical gear on you. If you don't shoot your gun. Rethink what you're doing. Be safe. Please get medical training and be properly equipped to do the things that you do. From there, I also have a Blue Force Gear dump pouch. Again, I go into more detail about this in my first line gear video, but it is a really nice, compact, and minimalist, but very effective little dump pouch. I don't use it very much, but it is really nice to have that if you ever do need one. It's not going to take up much weight or room on my belts, as you can see, and I do love these little guys. And last but not least, I have my sidearm and its holster. Here I have my CZ P10C, and that's contained in a Tier 1 Centurion holster. These are Kydex holsters with active level 2 retention. Simply uses this little hood here that is released by the film release, and it works really well. I also have that mounted onto a Safariland QLS fork, which basically allows you to mount a number of different holsters to your belt system without doing surgery on it. It's really nice, really good to have that modularity if you have multiple handguns. I run a Glock 19 as well, so this is a really nice system for me. The QLS system is then mounted onto a Safariland mid-ride paddle. Mid-ride height is really nice, works great for me. You kind of want your handgun higher than lower if you can help it, but not too high so that it interferes with things like plate carriers. And mid-ride is honestly kind of the Goldilocks for me. Also have an elastic thigh band here. This just goes around my thigh, keeps everything nice and tight against my body so that when I'm drawing, the entire holster doesn't flare outwards and then I'm drawing into the side of my body. That just simply isn't good. So if you're running a system like this, I do recommend some sort of retention against your thigh. Now, this belt comes in a number of different colors on the Ferro Concepts website, which you can order directly from. It's currently retailing for $215 US, which, you know, isn't the cheapest belt out there, but I think for what you're getting, it's really good. I've been running this thing for the last 6 months, and I pretty much have nothing but amazing things to say about it. It's truly a game changer. The structure of it holds weight up very well. I do find that the inner belt doesn't lend itself very strongly to that, but when I use this with a Wilder belt pad where I can wear it at various heights, better customized to my body, and further having that padding on there and being able to wear it over things like jackets generally just makes this thing a huge, huge effective game changer. So I strongly recommend it. It's lasted and held up very well for these last 6 months that I've been using it. The construction is immaculate. It's very easy to use and mount accessories to, and it feels really good. I've never worn a battle belt that I like more, and this one just does the trick for me. So I do strongly recommend it to you. There's a number of other great options out there, don't get me wrong, but this simply is the best battle belt that I have used to date. And that's all the belt talk I've got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell too. Also, if you've got your own thoughts on the Bison or any other belts out there, I'd love to hear more about it in the comments below, so feel free to chime in and don't be shy. I also want to graciously thank everybody on Patreon for your continued support. This channel is entirely dependent on viewers like you, so you make this possible, and I really couldn't do without you. If you want to go help chip in, you can always go to patreon.com/tacticalgf. The biggest contributors are named at the end of the video. And that's a wrap. I really appreciate you all tuning in. Please be good to each other out there, and as always, please take care. Bye!